And now we're here.
And now we're here. So now I have a better looking chat box. Streamlabs does not like it when you resize stuff though, so it's really weird. I wish you could just like drag it over and it would like dynamically move the text around.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but at least we got everything set up to where it works fine. I'm also glad now that I'm looking at on your screen. I'm glad that the text is working.
This is a lot more legible than my last thing was, I think.
Oh, mine is too. So I liked my last chat box when I got it set up, and then after I got it, I was like, oh, okay. I need to... Like, after I got this one, I was like, okay, I'm not going back. I'm not going back now that I got this set up.
Yeah, this was fun. Yeah, so I've got some tweets to go through. I don't know if you're going to go through them on your stream as well.
I'm going to try to get them pulled up. I need to sort my windows better because I've got everything kind of just hodgepodge together. Hold on. This is what happens when you've been streaming for 10 days straight.
Yeah, well, also, it doesn't help that we crossed the streams here.
True, we did. We really did.
Never crossed the streams.
Okay. So you sent me... You sent me a Google Drive thing that's supposed to have the tweets on it.
Yes, I did.
Let me see here. Except the Google Drive folder that you sent me is the one that has your avatars.
Yeah, there should be a zip folder called images in there.
Okay, I got it. Now I should be able to just download this zip folder. There we go. There's my brain working on 3 brain cells, overdrive, and lots of caffeine. This is day 10. I've lost all sanity.
Yeah, well, this is minute 7 for me, and I'm still friggin' trying to figure out what's going on here.
Okay.
Where are we? Donations. That's what I'm doing. I switched my stuff around back when YouTube did a weird tax thing to. It used to be like my kids yelling, "Yay, money for candy!" and stuff like that. And I did a grumpy dub over it with me saying YouTube instead of candy. So it was like, "Yay, money for YouTube," and I accidentally just set it to that again.
Oh.
So now I need to change it back so people don't hear me all grumpy this. Anyway, I got 2 super chats I need to read. Patriot of the West, before we even started, said, "Hello and take my donation. Odo, bless Rhino, and keep up the good work. Any additional evidence for evolution in the works? I use it in debates." Yeah, that series is still ongoing, but kind of on hiatus at the moment. I am desperately trying to get extra videos done so I can take a week or 2 off at Christmas and not miss any videos. And it actually... It's kind of weird, but when it's a video that's just me, it actually takes a lot more time and effort to get it out, to get it done. So when I'm trying to get vacation time, I tend not to do solo videos. And Patriot of the West again said, "Saw Cirrus in this one. Please pass along an Odin bless, atheist, Norse pagan, ancestor of worship and tradition. Long-term fan of both y'all. Keep it up." Thank you, Patriot of the West. So, the thing with Cirrus right now is he has been streaming for, 9 days, 1 hour, and 39 minutes.
Which means this is day 10.
This is day 10. So and that's straight. No breaks. I mean, he gets to, sleep.
I get to sleep.
It just streams with him sleeping. But he's in the middle over on Twitch of what's called a Subbathon.
Yep.
Which I guess that's a thing where if every new subscriber you get, you add 5 minutes to your stream.
Yeah, for better or worse. That's exactly what it is.
So that's why I'm titling this "Let's Torture Cirrus," because right now he's got 132 hours, 54 minutes, and 53 seconds left. So if some of you guys who actually know what the frick is going on with Twitch, because I certainly don't, you can go make Cirrus take longer on his stream.
Oh dear.
I don't know. I can't give good directions for that. There's a link in the description to Cirrus's link tree, which has his link to the Twitch stream.
I'm gonna have to resize some things for this particular episode. So normally I have a green screen behind me, and it allows me to have the depth of field effect almost. You notice that like I'm obviously 2D, but it looks like I'm in a 3D environment. That doesn't work well with what I'm doing right now, where I'm broadcasting my location, as it were, over to you. So there we go. I just got it resized. Everything works now. Everything's back the way it should be. It's all scuffed. Oy, oy, oy.
Yeah. Yeah, so what? You got my stream playing in a window in your stream. We're crossing the streams bad.
We are crossing the streams bad. It'll become the tweets whenever we get there, though.
It will. But some people in my chat were asking what whiskey I'll be drinking this evening. I'm drinking whiskey this time, not scotch. It's a Canadian Club, which I'm told is absolutely garbage. But I'm not, like, I'm new to scotch stuff. I don't know. It's smooth.
I was just drinking a giant glass of milk because since I'm sick, I just needed to down a huge thing of Thai curry so that I could, like, blow out my sinuses, basically, before this. And if you've ever had
It's one way to do it.
If you've ever had the hottest level possible of Thai curry, that stuff is very, very rough on you. So it's like, okay, cool. I need milk now.
You don't need to eat that, though. You can just, like, hold your face over it, and that'll clear the sinuses.
I knew I needed to eat it because I've already tried to use, like, the Vicks VapoRub stuff, so I know that just, like, smelling something is not going to solve my problem. I need to absorb it into my body via osmosis to gain the superpowers.
Okay, well, let me just use my sanitizer now since I'm getting too close to Cirrus.
Let me go ahead and remove the fall front real quick so people can see your underbelly.
Oh,
there you go. There you go. I mean, you're not going to see any difference on your end. It's just over on my stream.
Okay, sure. Yeah, if you're on Cirrus' stream, I've got the my Halloween costume on. It's the Eric Hovind mask.
Yep. Okay, so this is going to be one of those things where it's nothing but pain, right? All the tweets we're going to be reading.
All the tweets are pain. Here, let's there. All my stuff resized. Now, the tweets should be more visible on my end this time too, because I resized stuff.
You've given yourself more screen real estate.
Yeah. Now, I have a couple that are kind of in series, but I've got that thing going on where Streamlabs is randomizing it for whatever fucking reason. I don't know how they decide the order, but the order does seem to stay constant. So even though it's not alphabetical, it's I kind of know which way to hit the arrow key. So I might get it right. So this is from a guy named Gadsad. I've seen the name before, but I don't remember who he is.
Oh, no. I think I know which tweet this is. Hold on. Let me pull up mine real quick. What's the name of it? Gad1?
Gad1, yeah.
All right, let's take a look here.
So Gadsad says, my wife walked up to the server at our local cafe. The person was possibly transgender. She wanted to engage the individual, but was frozen in fear that she might use a pronoun that might offend. Therein lies the problem with this language policing. It takes a perfectly natural social situations, and in the quest to not offend an extraordinarily small minority, who of course deserve to live fully dignified lives like anyone else, everyone is walking on eggshelves.
Eggshelves.
Eggshelves. I liked that. So okay, before we go on with the rest of this train wreck, let's just back it up a bit. If you're walking up to a server in a cafe and you don't know what pronouns to use, there are lots of things you can still, like, hi, hello, excuse me.
Excuse me,
may I please have a glass of milk? So many things.
Hello, could I ask you a question? Like, boom, there you go. That's very gender neutral. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard at all. Not to mention, most trans people, if you get their pronouns wrong, will simply go, hey, I'm this, not that. And then, boom, that all the awkwardness you felt in the conversation, done, solved, problem finished.
Yeah, or here's a wild idea. You could say, hey, what are your preferred pronouns? and then go from there.
I know that I've literally done that before. There was a friend of mine. I don't want to say their name for purposes of accidental doxing, but when we met, it was actually when Pokemon Go was like new, and people were all running around Marietta Square, and they were like stupidly androgynous. So I was just like, they went, oh right, hold on, this is 5 years ago. It was like, yeah, what are your pronouns? They're like, oh, he, him. I was like, okay, cool. Problem solved. That solved that issue, and that has never been a problem for 5 years since then. But it's not a difficult thing to do. It's not.
No, it's super easy. Barely an inconvenience. To quote a great comedian. So my chat is tossing back and forth between discussing good scotches and whiskeys and discussing what's going to happen to your bowels after that Thai food. But I do have one person, Raindrop Works, sent a super chat, said, yeah, Eric Hovind mask is too spoop for me. I assume they came over to my stream from yours. Where it's got a very Michael Myers kind of vibe going on there.
It really does. It is cursed as hell. But like when you sent me all the different versions of your avatar, I was like, it has to be that one. It has to be that one. I told you, like, because you got the gender bender thing going on. I'm fine being the BDSM Mrs. Rhino for a night. Could have done that for me. Could have. I wonder if I should swap to my original design for a little bit, because I know that's the one that people have actually seen on your channel. Not the female one, but hold on, we'll pop over, because it's that easy for me to do that. Here we go.
No, that one hasn't been on my channel. I mean, like, that's closer to the one that has been on my channel.
It's closer to the one that's been on your channel. Yeah. It's closer.
There was less cleavage on the original.
Jesus. What do we have else for this tweet here?
So then we get the bracket statement. So it says, who of course deserve to live fully dignified lives like anyone else. Like, okay, well, if you acknowledge that they deserve to have fully dignified lives, then why not just be courteous to them?
You know what's a weird thing, though? So the way that I've seen this statement used a lot, and maybe you've seen it too, it's usually when talking about transitioning specifically, and somebody goes, well, they deserve all the respect and love and medical care possible for them. But usually the person who's saying that, when they say that awkwardly, they usually mean conversion therapy.
Yeah.
And it's because, like, I've seen that for a lot of people where it's like, okay, so you think that they deserve all the medical care that they could get. So what kind of medical care would you suggest? And they're like, well, they're not really X. So I was like, oh, okay, so it's just conversion therapy. You literally are just advocating for conversion therapy.
Which, let's call a spade here. Conversion therapy has been, I forget what the name of the organization, but there's like a human rights organization that will determine whether certain practices constitute torture. And they determine that conversion therapy is one of those practices that is most definitely torture.
Oh yeah, I actually did a video on I think it was the last edited video I did on my channel. Was the video I did on conversion therapy, because I knew that was one where I wanted to get everything right the first time and not have to be like, oh yeah, I made a misspeak while I was live type of deal. But yeah, did a whole breakdown on conversion therapy, and actually awkwardly found that, like, one of the people who came out on the right end of that conversation was Sigmund Freud.
Really?
Yeah, so Sigmund Freud, when conversion therapy was brought up, he literally would tell parents, your child isn't broken. Stop asking me to fix them. I even read a letter that he gave to a specific parent on the subject, and it was his daughter later that started going, no, I think my dad was wrong. I'm going to ungay all the gays. And then that ended up happening. So it was so weird that, like, normally whenever you look at, like, human psychology stuff, Sigmund Freud, it's like, yeah, this bad idea came from Freud.
Yeah. He's the founder of modern psychology, but don't do anything that he said to do, basically. Yeah.
But then when I was looking this up, and I was like, wait, he's actually the good guy of this story? Huh. That feels so weird. But yeah, it was a very wild ride.
Yeah, Freud's an interesting one. In Hitch We Trust says, I love your channel, keep up the great work. This stream is it's a bit more what's the word? Bit more off the cuff, I guess. Not that I really do a good job of planning these things normally, but if anyone actually like wants to, like, I normally pay better attention to the chat, which I've actually been told is a bad thing because I get distracted easily. But yeah, if anyone has anything important that they want to get through or anything they want to ask Cirrus or whatever, super chat's the best way to do that. But I am trying to keep an eye on the chat.
Yeah.
But there's also a chat going on over at Cirrus's thing, so I'm also missing a lot of it.
If anything pops up over there that's really pertinent, I'll let you know.
Okay, so continuing on, everyone is walking on eggshelves, which,
You'd think those would be pretty sturdy.
Okay, some of these things I understand how the common parlance makes you think that it's something like it's a moot point. Some people, when they type it out, they call it a mute point, M-U-T-E. But it's not, it's moot, because it means two different things. But I can see the confusion there. And like stuff like that, I get, but like eggshells, it seems the same, but or like it sounds the same, but like the meaning there is like that makes zero sense. Eggshells makes perfect sense. Eggshelves just doesn't. Like, what even is an eggshelf?
No,
like I guess the shelf that you put your eggs on in North America we do that in the fridge. I know in Europe they don't refrigerate their eggs, so there might be an egg shelf in Europe.
I know for me, this reads like a typo, where it's like it's one of those things that it's one of those legendary typos where you read it and you go, oh, okay, I know what they meant, but they fucked up. But it's just memeable enough to where it's going to get adapted by somebody, because that's what happened with that's what happened with the word pwn. Like whenever somebody goes like you pwned someone on the internet, literally it's a mistyping of own, or like the same thing with bay. It's not a fucking acronym in the beginning. It was literally just missing a letter in babe, and then course corrected. People were like, oh no, it's definitely an acronym. Definitely. That's what it's always meant the whole time.
Those ones go back to the Leroy Jenkins era.
Oh, yeah. Dude, one of the ways that I actually got stuck here for as long as I am is somebody donated leet and somebody else donated boobs in currency. Just nice. if you type boobs on the calculator, that's what the amount was, $800.85. And then somebody donated literally $1,307 or $1,337. It's
actually in a college math course. We were learning hexadecimal, how to convert hexadecimal back into decimal, and or like go both ways. And of course, one of the guys in the class did some calculating of his own, and they came back and like the teacher was like, "Oh, just shout out a number, and I'll show you how to convert it." And so he gave him the number in decimal, and like the teacher like he didn't actually go through it. He didn't get fooled by it, but he like looked at the board, thought about it for a couple seconds, was like, no, I'm not doing that one. So naturally the rest of the class did that one on their own, and of course it was B00B.
Jesus fucking Christ. Also, Reggie over on my chat, thank you very much for the 10 gifted subs. That adds another hour and some odd to my time that I'm stuck here.
Nice. Are my people going over to your are my people going to torture you yet?
I've seen a handful of people from your chat pop over here. I've been doing the fun thing whenever somebody's new and cycling through my models bit by bit.
Nice.
Has Sir slept?
All
yes,
right.
I have.
So let's continue on with this one. So he's fighting for a world free of bigotry does not imply that we must suppress perfectly natural categorization mechanisms that are built into our brains and our language. I can be free of bigotry without being compelled to celebrate your unique personhood. Square brackets, I'm getting closer to putting everything behind a subscription wall.
Isn't that the thing that happens all the time where it's just like, I've been censored. Go to my website where you'll be able to see my unfiltered thoughts. And they're just like, I don't like the gays.
Yeah.
And that's all it ends up being. Is they've just... the whole thing is just, I don't like queer people. Yeah.
And like, natural categorization mechanisms are built into our brains and our language. Okay, well, first off, language... like.
Language evolves.
People don't understand that gender is a social construct, but then like language is even more obviously a social construct. Like,
and anybody who tries to say that
not be.
everybody says social constructs aren't real or aren't important. I would like you to go to the store and buy a lot of things with the latest social construct we created as human beings, money.
Fiat currency?
Yep, fiat currency is a social construct. And yet,
literally,
here we are.
Society said this is valuable. What's valuable about it? Like, if you're using cash, like, it's a little piece of paper.
Yep. It's
nothing
a piece
inherently
of paper
valuable
that represents an idea, and that's it. Time. Again, there is a thing that exists called time, but all of our measurements for it, every one of them, are arbitrary and socially constructed. Every single one. And yet, people get up in a tiss about when you say gender socially constructed, therefore it's X, Y, or Z. It's like, one, I can give you papers with over 17,000 citations that say you're wrong. Literally, the Doing Gender paper from 1989, written by Don H. Zimmerman and Candace Wess, is like one of the most cited papers in sociology. It's insane. But, like, I could throw science at you if I want to. I could also just beat you down with common sense if we want to go that route.
Okay, so I got another super chat from Terrence Clark, who said, fun fact, mute point is an example of an eggcorn, a sound-alike that sounds like it could be correct. So eggcorn would be like an acorn, because it's eggcorn.
Oh my god.
And I have not heard that term before, but I love it. Yeah. All right, but like obviously the natural categorization mechanisms he's saying is like if you have a penis, you're a boy. If you have a vagina, you're a girl. It's like let's never mind the fact that chromosomal combinations that don't match up with penis and vagina are way more common than a lot of people like to think.
Not to mention we've got like so the ways that your body, the ways that we categorize sex, it's not just genitalia representation. You've got genitalia representation, gonadal representation, chromosomal representation, gametal representation, and phenotypical representation. Those are the 5 main categories that we use when we're determining somebody's sex, and these things do not always line up with one another. It's why we've started like looking at sex more as a bimodal distribution, because there are these variances. And when people are like, well, intersex doesn't count, you can't count it, it's still binary. It's like, how many people have to exist that are various forms of intersex for them to fucking count, looking at the redheads in the audience?
Yeah. Do you have green eyes? That's not very common.
Green eyes don't exist. We don't account for them. No.
But like, yeah, I just like I don't understand why it's such a big deal.
It's really not. What happens is people get inconvenienced. And when they get inconvenienced, things that inconvenience them...
It's not even inconveniencing, though.
The whole point of this tweet is about inconvenience, though. The entire modus operandi of this tweet is life was more convenient for me before, therefore.
It was self-imposed inconvenience. Like, how often do you use a person's gendered pronoun when you're approaching them directly? Like, that... Like, in most... common use case for those pronouns are when you're talking to someone about that person. Like, you don't walk up to your server at a restaurant and say, hey, she, can I get a coffee?
Yeah, you usually use their name or some other placeholder. You're not actually very inconvenienced. And if you think you are inconvenienced by this, if you think it's bad in some way, there's also the added section here.
Is he still going on his end?
No, I'm still here. What? Did I die?
Am I still going?
What?
Oh, you cut out for a sec.
Okay, is it good now?
Yeah, it's good.
Yay!
Now.
Internet.
I was checking your stream to see if you cut out on your stream as well.
No, I am still here and still good. Things lag for a moment. Okay, yeah, it's probably just my system's been on for like ever now, and it's been doing its best to keep up.
Well, hey, I can actually like pretty confidently say it's not me at this point because I finally have new internet. I have, in theory, my speed is 1.5 gigabits. Now I'm using a Cat 6 cable, so it maxes out at 1 gigabit. So in reality, I won't see speeds more than 900 megabits per second. But that's an upgrade from 40. Well, no, okay, my upload speeds before were 10 megabits per second. So I've gone from 10 to, I think the max on this is 960. So I can stream without worrying about my friggin' bandwidth now. One of the kids hops on Minecraft, I'll be okay.
Meanwhile, I've been ever since I moved into my new house. Well, it's not new anymore. It's been like 2 years. That was the internet that we got when we hopped in, because there was no internet out here. So when AT&T came out here, they were just like, it's gigabit, boom.
Nice. Well, for us, it's mainly been a cost thing, because our last connection was 40 megabits down and 10 up, and that was fine. We're streaming 4K stuff on our TV in the living room at the same time as I'm doing stuff, and it worked fine. Like, it wasn't good, but it was fine. But then like, upload speeds are what I'm concerned about, and in my area, nobody offers good upload speed. So like, everybody is like, they'll give you a gigabit down, but it's still only 10 megabits per second up. And
Jesus.
it's like, okay, well, upload speed is what I would be looking to upgrade, because I upload videos to YouTube. It takes me 2 hours to upload a video sometimes. So when Bell came out with this one, I despise Bell as a company. I can't stand them. Every time I have to talk to them, it's this big hassle. They don't know what's going on. They don't train their reps properly. I be nice to the reps, because it's not their fault usually. But like, and it's a huge hassle and a pain in the butt. They accidentally set up 2 installation appointments for me, and then were telling me like, oh no, you're getting 2 services and we can't cancel that one because it's not modifiable anymore. And it's like, well, I signed up for 1. I'm not paying for 2. And it was just this big, huge hassle, because they're a horrible, horrible company. And the company we were with before, we really, really like them. But they're small. Like, they're one of the small guys that like piggybacks off of other guys' lines, and so they don't have fiber in our area.
Yeah.
And so like, but like, when Bell came out with this package, it's like, it was like $15 a month more than our other internet, and it's like more than 10 times the speed. It's like, yeah, I hate Bell, but I'm sorry. It's really nice to be able to upload a video in 5 minutes instead of 2 hours.
Yeah, it's when I had 75 down when I was living in Cartersville, and it was insane to me how like almost instantaneous it felt having things go once we moved over to this internet. It's not something that I was used to. I've gotten used to it now. I couldn't go back now. I refuse to now. But once upon a time, it felt strange.
I grew up in the area, like, my teenage years, when the hormones were raging wild and porn was the thing that you wanted, was when from The Simpsons, when Captain Janeway is loading 1 bar at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that scene?
It's been...
Am I just speaking? So that's the one with comic book guy, and he's looking at a picture of Captain Janeway, and it's loading 1 bar at a time, and Homer's ad shows up over the boobs.
Things that have actually happened to horny Rhino.
Yes. that scene hurts me.
Because you've done it. Hold on, no, this is not the one that I wanted to switch to. Here we go. This is the one I wanted to switch to. The avatar that this background was actually fished for. There we go.
All right, so let's move on to some more. Oh, we've got some Ray Comfort coming up.
Oh God, I love Mr. Comfort.
I'm not gonna lie. I really like the nickname Comfort, but I also really don't like giving people silly nicknames like that. So I'm kind of torn on that one.
My thing is that, like, as long as you address him correctly the first time, but here's the other thing though. With Ray specifically, I view this person as a grifter. I find it very hard with the amount of time that he's been doing his stuff for me to like believe that he believes the things he does. Now, granted, in good faith, it is best to assume that he does believe the things he does, and I'm never going to deny that. But well past the point with Ray.
He's had so many things explained to him in such simple terms that, like, it's impossible for him to not understand at this point.
Yeah, like we're past. It's the same thing with like Ben Shapiro. Like the dude should know what fallacies he's committing when he says the dumb things he says. I'm past the point of taking what he says on face value. I just am. So he's he gets to be the cum farter for me. That's where he is to me.
I'm kind of like that with Matt Powell. I actually just finished working on a Matt Powell video, and I'm always a bit meaner to Matt Powell than I am to other people because I know for a fact that he is a lying liar who lies.
Yes.
Because like it's just like he took a video of a lady explaining why she believes in God, and he cut it to make her look like she was kind of sort of an atheist, and then he referred to her as an atheist the whole time. You can't do that and remain honest. It's not possible. Like she said outright several times in the video, I believe in God.
And yet he had to cut it in such a... It's the same thing he did. It's the same thing he tried to do to me. I had him on my channel years ago when we were going over his Science Falsely So-Called quote movie. And when I had him on, we had our conversation and I said, okay, cool. I'm going to grant you your argument, which is just a normal debate tactic, right? You just grant them a premise and then you walk along and go, and if I grant you your premise, here's why your conclusion doesn't work, because I can come to other different conclusions. It's like when somebody says, the ontological argument, therefore the Christian God, and you go, if I grant you the ontological argument, all I get to, at best, is a form of deism. Like, that's as far as I can get with that argument. So... You know, when you're, I did that with Matt, and then he cut me up and tried to say, aha, no, look, you see, even Cyrus admits there has to be a God. And then Aaron Ra made a video responding to him, and he's just like, he's just like, I've been on a call with Cyrus dealing with your shit. I know you're lying. It was fucking funny.
He challenged me to a debate by commenting on one of my videos. And then he deleted that comment and doesn't respond to anything that I do anymore.
Wow, what a little bitch, baby.
And he anytime, like, I don't know if it's just me or if he does it every time an atheist responds to him, but anytime I make a response video to him, he always puts his video on private until the views die down.
I have not noticed that. I didn't realize that he was a coward.
He is a complete fucking coward. I would love to have him on this channel. I can't guarantee that I would be polite to him like I was with like Trinity or Brian. But yeah, I would love to have him on this channel. I also couldn't guarantee that I would be mean to him face to face because I'm kind of a big softie when it comes to face stuff generally.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I stopped doing a lot of live stuff, because I don't just deal with creationists on my channel. I deal with, like, really, really vitriolic political figures. And there's a certain level of justifiable anger that you kind of want to have in those situations. And when it's face-to-face, you're like, I want to be nicer to you so that it doesn't seem like I'm being the asshole. But I also recognize that, like, the thing you said necessarily means that, that, like, people I love would have to die. Like, that's... it happened. I had Call for an Uprising on. When I had him on, the comments were like, "You have the patience of a saint." And it's like, it's because when I have somebody in that confrontation, I'm naturally less angry, and I know that that's not a good thing for certain people.
Yeah. Well, okay. So with Matt, I would love to have him on because I want to be able to pin him down and like get him to just say what he actually thinks. But I'm going to make a prediction here in the middle of a stream that nobody's going to watch. So in my video, there are a few times when like he says something that's almost not wrong, or like it's not like what he said is right, but it doesn't lead to the conclusion that he takes it to. Yeah. And so there's a few times when I like my response breaks in with, well, you're kind of right, but, and then I explain why he's not actually right. And then at the end of the video, I make a comment that I don't think I've ever heard him say a correct thing. Like, unless you count stuff like, my name is Matt Powell.
Even then, though, that name was given to him.
True. So my prediction is that if he does anything with my response video, one of the things he will do is he'll cut it up to make it look like I'm contradicting myself when I say I've never heard him say a correct thing, but he said that I was right when I said, bah.
A lot of times, though, as well, like when somebody's doing that, you kind of just have to go, look, there's such a thing as hyperbole. And if you lack the ability to tell when I'm being hyperbolic, that's a you problem, not a me problem.
Yeah, well, Matt's good at doing hyperbole, but I don't think he even knows that he's doing it.
No, I don't. He's just like he's good at sarcasm, but I don't think he can recognize when other people are using it.
Yeah. So anyway, Ray Comfort says Darwinian evolution is an embellished fantasy that sparked from the fertile imagination of one man. I found this one to be really, really interesting because one of the fairly common creationist talking points is to, like, they'll disparage Darwin as if he's like the patron saint of evolution. And they'll be like, oh, well, he was actually working off of information that he got from his father, and his father got from other scientists, and those other scientists got it from some ancient Greek philosophers, and there's some evolutionary ideas that you can trace all the way back to, like, ancient Greece several thousand years ago. And that's true. So it's really weird for me to see a creationist saying that, like, oh, no, it all did originate just from Darwin, because, I don't know, like, pick an argument. They're both stupid, but...
Well, the thing is that neither of them are meant to be arguments, I don't think. I think that both of them are meant to just be gotchas that exist in isolation of one another. The problem is that they're said by... Because I know for a fact that I've seen Kent Hovind, like, go over everything that Charles Darwin does, like calls him Chuck, does the whole thing where he says that, like, oh, he was a failed preacher and that's why he did this. I've seen Kent go down
Chuck sometimes.
I've seen Kent go down that route, and then at the same time call him a plagiarist in other videos. And it's at a certain point you just have to go, I understand these exist in isolation of one another. I get that. I understand you're not thinking of them as 2 points that are, part of the same sword, but they are.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many creationist arguments that happens too. Is like when you compare them to another creationist argument, it's like, well, these both can't be true. Either one is true or the other is false, or like one, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, that's because each one of them they're meant to be a gotcha. They're meant to be a gotcha that exists in isolation of anything else. They're meant to be something you pull out of the hat as like, aha, you're wrong because, but. The problem is that when you blend all the things in the hat together, you don't come out with a car or something. Whatever the analogy is supposed to be that they use against us.
Tornado in a junkyard.
Frog in a blender, whatever you have to use.
Frog in a blender. I don't think I've heard that one. Is that a Hovind one? That sounds like a Hovind one.
So I didn't hear that one from Hovind. I heard that from... I have a friend... Wayne, who hopped on, and he mentioned the frog in the blender one as the one that his church specifically used. And I was like, oh my god, I've never heard it as frog. That's kind of brutal. We usually hear like cell phone in a blender or, tornado in a junkyard. We hear stuff like that.
Oh,
but he was
Alan
like, yeah,
Parr did the cell phone in a blender, yeah.
Oh god, right. Every time that I forget Alan exists, I'm reminded. I'm reminded. That dude has
he's
the
so
biggest
slimy.
He has the biggest hate boner for anybody who's even remotely queer, and yet he tries to do the whole, now I don't hate anybody, but they're all gonna burn in hell and I'm gonna laugh. That's his whole fucking spiel.
Have you seen his video on where he's all like, oh, well, maybe you had all these plans and dreams for your child, and then the unthinkable happened. They told you they were gay. And it's the worst possible thing that could ever happen to a parent. Fuck off, Alan.
Here's the thing.
Jesus Christ.
I wonder if Alan realizes that the only reason that any child is not able to achieve their dreams while being gay is because people like him exist in the world preventing them from doing so. You wanted your children to have kids? Cool. Yeah, we have things like in vitro.
An adoption?
Yep.
Are you telling me you want more kids to stay in the foster care system? How evil do you have to be? But he's, I don't know. He's a piece of work. Anyway, next up is Richard Cooper.
Let me go ahead and
This one-
Cooper1.png.
Speaking of piece of works, pieces of work.
So
ladies,
hold on, I want to do this one. I have a voice
okay,
for this one.
go for it. Go for it.
Okay, let me get the. I had chocolate covered espresso beans in my mouth. I need to get those out real quick.
That's what she said.
I had balls in my mouth, everybody. It's very funny.
Okay,
Ladies, here's how to be a good catch. 1. Know how to cook, because I do not know how to. 2. Keep fit and sexy, because I hate looking in the mirror. 3. Don't be promiscuous, because I am infertile. I mean, don't be a nag, because I don't want you reminding me of my mother. 5. Be tidy and clean, because I really need someone to clean my room. I miss Mom. 6. Don't be a single mother, because, well, I had one and I don't want that again. 7. Have great friends and family, because I'm very lonely. 8. Do not have debt. Please help me pay off my credit cards. I bought too many Gundam Wing models. 9. Be pleasant. I need somebody to counterbalance me. 10. Support his purpose. That's right. And if you just go to my website for $9.99 a month, you can hear me talk about why I don't like the gays.
Take the red pill.
Take the red pill, everybody. I did, and I've never been... Oh god, I need therapy.
That was perfect.
anytime that I'm that's the voice I use for biblical gender roles. Whenever I'm covering biblical gender roles, I read his entire article in that voice.
Oh my god. He is my Alan Parr. Why did you remind me that he exists?
Well, as it turns out, he stopped making a lot of biblical gender role stuff, and he made a secondary website, if you've seen. It's called...
The internet never forgets.
It's called Biblical Sexology.
Oh god.
And it talks about why he should be allowed to beat his partners. It's very,
I have
very
my
disgusting.
biblical sexology book right here. It's called A Celebration of Sex by Dr. Douglas E. Rossineau.
Warhawks in my chat says, what about the Mickey voice you used that one time? I have a cold and I cannot use... Hold on, can I use my Mickey Mouse voice when I have a cold? No, not really. No, I can't. I literally cannot tap into the octave for that voice. I'm sorry.
I can do Kent Hovind, not as well as Dr. Josh can.
Yeah.
Digital Hammurabi, but I can do like, oh well, I covered that on tape 4 of my award-winning series. What's the series called? I forget.
Hello, my name is Kent Hovind. Oh, I that was
No,
somebody
that's
else's.
Logic.
That was somebody else's
Someone
award.
else's series.
That was a much better series. Sorry.
I might make a my version of Kent Hovind might make an appearance in my Matt Powell video.
Look, all I'm saying is that the world was once covered by water, and I believe that the entire world can be covered by sheets of ice, because I have 3 brain cells, desperately in an orgy to make a 4th.
His brain cells are so stupid that they think they reproduce sexually.
Yep.
Oh.
My brain cells
All
had a
right.
threesome trying to have a baby. They're still just as stupid as they were last night.
Okay, next up is Lavern Spicer.
Let me go ahead, and this is going to be called Yep. God, now I'm thinking of Shaolin
Spicy one?
Showdown, Jack Spicer.
So yeah, this is another one that's
Oh,
two-parter.
God fucking damn it! This is the same thing Marjorie Taylor Greene said.
Is it? Yeah, that
Yes.
doesn't surprise me, but yeah, so Lavern Spicer says they let Magic Johnson play basketball with full-blown HIV, but won't let Kyrie... Is it Kyrie or Kyrie?
I think it's
Irving?
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving play because he won't get a COVID shot. It's like, okay, well, first off, like, okay, let's just go to the response. Says, I didn't know HIV could spread through the air, to which Lavern said, it can't. You might need to go back to school.
These 2 points do not exist simultaneously.
Like, that. Why would you not let him play basketball if it doesn't, like, are they butt fucking each other before they make their baskets?
Yes, this is
I don't
the
know.
whole...
I don't watch sports. Do they do butt fucking now in basketball?
This is exactly what they do. It's called bonding. It's called bonding. It's team bond. They have
Team
team
building.
bonding. Yeah, it's team. Well, no. For it to be team building,
It would have to be not gay.
They need to have mixed gendered sports at that point, so that there's a potential of procreation. Then it could be team building. but that process is going to take a little longer. It's better to take somebody who already exists and train them.
The
than just make a
quiverful
new
movement already has a head start on that one.
True, but no, like, okay, so let's maybe talk about how HIV works for a hot fucking second, okay?
It's a retrovirus.
It requires sitting onto already exist, like, it has to transfer via biological matter. It doesn't just walk around in the fucking air. It can't. Even spit is not something it can transfer through very easily, from what I understand. Like, it is, and even if you just get it on you, that's still not going. It's not like COVID where it just gets into a pore and it's like, oh well, things are nice and moist here. Time to fuck
it has
you
to
up.
get into your bloodstream.
It has to get into the bloodstream. So unless you guys are doing literal blood rituals on the basketball court, which, I mean, Call for an Uprising probably thinks they are, but let's pretend for a minute that we're in reality. Unless you're doing actual blood rituals on the basketball court, you're not going to have this problem. Not to mention, Magic Johnson hasn't played basketball in a while. He's retired a long time ago. Why is he... Is that how far you had to go back to find a point?
To find someone with it.
You had to go back a couple decades and a South Park episode, which is probably the only reason you even fucking know that, to get to that point.
My question is, like, what does she mean by full-blown HIV? Is that I know if you have HIV managed, you can keep it under a detectable viral load, and so that would basically if your viral load is low enough that it can't be detected by our current tests, then it's not possible to spread it. So you're safe basically if you keep it managed. So would full blown mean like not managed? But did Magic Johnson not have it managed, or did the management not work as well back then? I don't know. I don't know my sports history.
I think it's all just hyperbole. There's also people in my chat who are pointing out that didn't Magic Johnson retire as soon as he found out too? From what I understand.
Did he?
That's what so I can't verify that.
Kind of kills the point. That kind of kills the point before it even it takes its first step.
Let's take a look here. I will very quickly. Did Magic Johnson retire after his HIV diagnosis?
Someone on my end says full-blown HIV is AIDS, which I could kind of see that, I guess.
That's still wrong, though, because
it is, but
the virus the virus and the actual disease are two different things. Viruses cause diseases.
Yeah.
At least if you subscribe to the, germ theory, which, if you know anything about science, you fucking do. Sorry, I've dealt with a lot of anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, Magic Johnson retired 25 years ago.
Wow.
1991.
So, totally relevant in this day and age. So that was in the middle of the AIDS crisis, too. Like, that was when it was a big deal sort of thing.
Yeah, that was Bush right after fucking Reagan and shit. Yeah. Oh my god, why? Also, why is my Google default to the Sunset City Google? Dear god, everybody on my podcast is going to be like, why are our search results all this random ass shit? Jeebus. But I didn't see anything.
My Google history is something else because of my YouTube channel. There have been several times where, Chrome's login thing where it synchronizes everything like that. That's convenient in a lot of times, but then there have been times when Mrs. Rhino has come up and been like, did you really need to search for that? And it's like, it's relevant. Leave me alone. Whale penises may or may not be involved.
It's like if I'm trying to get a model from one of my artists for me to use on my channel, and if Raz would look at my search history and just be like, why are you looking up 90s era anime women in different poses and also specifically their hair? It's like, I needed reference. I'm sorry, I needed references.
People are into what they're into. Oh, yeah. Okay. So next up, we have Carnivore Sapien. Oh, God.
What is
this? So this is the one where he's been saying this. Plants have no place in your diet. They offer nothing but downsides. Stick to the good stuff. Meat, eggs, organs, and fruit.
Wait. Carnivore sapien. Do you?
You know what a fruit is?
I read this, and the last thing I want to do is read your pinned tweet, despite what your name is. Secondly, fruits are plants, my guy. Thirdly, I wonder how
Fruits are the reproductive organs of plants, specifically.
Well, you know what? I didn't want to think about eating like plant girl genitals, but now I am. Thanks, Feist.
You're welcome.
But when I'm reading this, the other thing that pops into my brain is, hold on. Looking at this, I wonder, what are the consistency of your shits? You have a 0 fiber diet.
Yeah.
What are the consistency of your shits, good sir? I need to know.
He sits there for 45 minutes and is a little tiny, rock hard turd.
No, there's not going to be no, it can't be rock. It has to be all liquid. There's no fiber. Without any fiber in his body, he's literally going to be just crapping liquids. There's nothing to bind his stool together.
Not to completely change the subject, but Bill Castle just sent $5 to say God gets too much credit but not enough blame. Don't you agree? I agree absolutely. Because that's where like the athletes, when they win a game, they'll I just need to thank God. It's like, okay, so God personally intervened to make your team win the game, but he couldn't be bothered to provide food for the kid that starved to death during the game?
You don't even have to go that far. God personally made your team win, but God literally looked at the other team and went, yeah, fuck those guys.
Yeah. They didn't pray hard enough. It's happened before. What about the Muslim players? They've won and thanked Allah. Does that mean Allah's more powerful than the Christian God, despite being kind of the same guy?
Despite being the same thing, just moon-flavored?
Yeah. The Inverse Way also sent a super chat with no message, so thank you for that.
No context.
Hey, Noramdaputz isn't here today. Oh, no, he is. Yeah, there he is. Hi, Noramdaputz.
Who is Noramdaputz? I am unfamiliar.
Noramdaputz is someone that sends me donations through the donation thing usually, and I had a horrible time trying to pronounce their name the first few times it happened, and then eventually they felt pity for me, so they pointed out that Noramdaputz is just stupid moron spelled backwards, so there is no correct pronunciation.
Oh. I figured that you, of all people, Mr. Vice Rhino, definitely not Eric Hovind, should be able to tell that.
You know what? I actually had, when I started my YouTube channel, I had a much higher view of like how much effort people would put into figuring stuff like that out.
Mm-hmm.
So like I fully expected people to just figure that out on their own eventually, but it never quite happened.
I think the only reason that I even figured that out was like when you, I think you messaged me and mentioned that, and I was like, what? And that was 3 years ago, and I've never fucking recovered.
Yeah, it was. Well, I am not creative, so when it comes to making usernames, it's like, okay, well, what do I call my channel? I don't fucking know. So I just started typing apologist names into an anagram generator, and was like, oh, Vice Rhino, that's kind of neat.
Raziel Faustus in my chat says, wait, so is Yakuza Mom God then? No, Valk isn't God. Valk has an angel and a demon form, but she's not God. Did her interview... I think her interview actually just went up on my channel today. No, it goes up tomorrow. Never mind. Y'all guys get to see Angel and Demon Valk tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Well, I want to mention this on your channel because you said there's a lot of people that like to do fan art on your channel.
For better or worse.
I really, really, really love using. I open all of my videos with what's her face, River Song from Doctor Who, with the "Hello, Sweetie" thing. Like,
yeah,
it's always captioned "Hello, Sweetie." I always open my videos with that, something River Song with "Hello, Sweetie." And people started a while ago sending in fan art for me with like River Song themed stuff, but with a rhino in there or something like that. And as much fun as it is to just use River Song, those are things that I created like years and years and years and years ago, and I didn't really put effort into them. And I absolutely love using the fan art stuff. So if any of you guys want something like that showing up on my channel, you can feel free to, I don't know, I guess send it to Surus if you know how to do that, and he'll get it to me. Or you can...
If you guys end up making like fan art that has me and Vice Rhino together doing shit, just drop it in my fan art section. That'll be
yeah, I'll appreciate the NSFW stuff as well. But I won't show that on my channel.
No, we don't need.
Yes, we do.
We do.
There's always time for NSFW.
Oh no!
Come on, you just switch to the avatar with the what's that called again? The Virgin
It's a Virgin Killer sweater.
You just switch to the Virgin Killer sweater. You're concerned about being safe for work?
Look, I'm just gonna cut my hair real quick, put on the glasses, and go into villain mode. Okay?
Okay.
I have way too much fun with these.
Anyway, yeah. So don't cut plants out of your diet unless a doctor tells you to. Like, obviously, a doctor's advice supersedes mine because I'm not a doctor. But yeah. Somebody says I could do it on my Discord. Probably, I'd have to actually remember that I have a Discord to do that, though.
What you
I have a Discord.
You put a fan art section in on your Discord, and that solves the problem right there.
That's a good idea. I should probably log into my Discord. It's been a while.
You should probably do that. I mean, I'm on your Discord.
There's like 3 people that are like super happy about my Discord, and they like just chat with each other. And every now and then I pop in, like, hey, how's it going?
How are you doing, everybody? Yes, I'm here.
Zanger said, I would really doubt if a doctor told me not to eat plants. I mean, so here's the thing. If your body had some issue where, like, it literally could not process fiber at all, and it also couldn't pass fiber, your doctors would probably ask you to stop eating as many plants because, again, high in fiber, cell walls, all that shit. Like, that would probably happen at that point, but that's not likely. Issuing Cirrus fans a challenge like that is dangerous. Oh no.
I know. I did that on purpose.
Jeebus.
So yeah, I just popped back into my Discord and typed in, I just remembered that Discord exists, and everybody's getting all excited.
To be fair, you straight up mentioned when you started your Discord, I have now started this so that I can promptly forget that it's a thing.
Yeah, this is true. Well, you know what? There's people use it for stuff like all of my tweets automatically get sent to a Rhino's tweets sub Discord thing. So if you want to see what I'm tweeting but you don't want to use Twitter, that's fine. There's a video suggestion thing, which maybe I should actually look in there. Somebody sent me a video of an axolotl. I like axolotls. They're cool.
Axolotls are cute.
They're adorable. I don't know if that was coming through my thing, but
I just have to.
Okay. So the axolotl is just the thumbnail. It's actually called 8 Million Species of Alien. That's supposed to be a video suggestion of like something that I should respond to.
Yeah, the axolotl was the clickbait. It's actually talking about, I guess. It sounds like a spirit science video. Actually, that's what that sounds like to me.
Maybe. So the inverse way says Dr. Hovind said to cut plants out. Not sure I should listen. Yeah, no, he. If you trust his doctorate, he is a doctor of Christian education. However, I've read his dissertation. It's not impressive. It's not. Like, I'm not going to tell you where to get it because it is technically, like, I think it's pirating in order to do that because, like, there's no legal places to get it because, unlike legitimate PhDs, his dissertation is not publicly available. Like, you can't just call the institution and request it. They'll keep it from you. But you can find it out there, and it's quite something. So if you manage to find it, I highly recommend reading it. But I do not recommend doing anything illegal to do it. Not officially, anyway.
I'm not. I'm going to say that part of his dissertation, I think, used to be linked on an old Logic video, and I'm saying that because if you happen to find it there, you should not click it and you should not read it, because that would be bad.
Absolutely. I agree. Jackson Shoutout? I'm sorry for mispronouncing that. says his pinned tweet, the carnivore guy, is a thread explaining why humans evolved to be carnivores.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Considering he considers fruit to be not
Not
plants,
a plant.
I'm gonna say he counts the berries and the hunting gathering thing. Sorry, I've been having a lot of whiskey. I've been drinking it faster than I probably should have. So,
Have you needed it to cope with all of this? Do you not have the level of like
Maybe.
cringe protection power that I do when I hide behind anime?
no, I think it's just that it's here. Like normally, I don't bring the bottle out, but it's here. So I've just been refilling it as it empties. So eventually, I'm gonna have to stop drinking it. But I just poured myself another one. But
You're your own
you know
best
what?
waiter.
Okay, so the way I've been trying different whiskeys is I've been buying one that I know I like, and then while I'm buying that one, I'll buy one of the like little sample size bottles of another one. And Canadian Club was one. It was like, okay, it's okay. I'll try that. I'll get a bigger bottle of that one as well. And then Mrs. Rhino actually went out to get it, and she came home. It's a plastic bottle. And it's like, does good whiskey come in plastic bottles? Probably not.
No,
But I'll drink it.
I don't know if I would ever think that good whiskey comes
Hey,
in plastic.
the
I don't even
super-
drink, and that just sounds wrong.
It is. I was so taken aback when she got home with that bottle. It was just like, plastic? Really? Like, I understand the little, like, 4-ounce bottles or whatever size they are that are the sample bottles. Like, I understand those ones being plastic, but like, this is what is it, 750 milliliters. This is almost a liter of whiskey, and it's plastic. Like, come on.
That's the kind of whiskey that like you go up to somebody that thinks they're gonna start a bar fight. You slam that on the bar, and it bounces back at you, and you go, "Oh no."
Yeah, this is one where it's like, I enjoy it. I know a lot of people don't like Canadian Club, but I enjoy it. It's fine. I'll probably move on to something better later when I get more when my taste is more developed or whatever. But
when you gain the palate of a wine aficionado, even
Yes.
though they've been proven to have no better palate than a random fucking Karen on the street.
oh, you know what? So the Prisoner wine is probably my favorite red wine. The Prisoner Signature Blend. It's absolutely amazing. And it's not that expensive. Like, it is expensive, but it's not like one of those $300 per bottle sort of things.
You'd hope
And
not.
I really, really like it. At the restaurant I used to work at, that was the bottle that I could sell. It's like they had a bottle that was $300. The Prisoner, I think, was like $65. And this is restaurant prices. So you go to the actual liquor store and be like $30 or $40, which fairly expensive for a bottle of wine at the liquor store, but it's reasonable, I think. But like, that was the one that I could actually sell because it actually tasted good. Their $300 bottle, like I got to taste that one day in one of our little training tasting sessions, and it was just like, it's okay. Wouldn't pay $300 for it, so no, I'm not going to sell this. I mean, sure, if people came in and said I'll have that, then like, yeah, absolutely, I'll give that to you because 15 to 20% tip add on to the bill. It's good.
So the best stuff is on the top shelf. That's what we hear all the time, but I also don't drink, so I can't. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Grey Goose Vodka. They are a top shelf vodka. The reason they are top shelf is because they specifically designed the bottle to be too big to fit underneath any of the other shelves. So they have to be on the top shelf in order to fit. So people just see it on the top shelf, so they buy it. They also almost went out of business because they weren't selling. And the way they solved that problem was they just tripled the price. And after they tripled the price, suddenly people bought it because it's expensive.
Yep.
So that's... So it's literally just garbage vodka that got made more expensive in order to sell more, to make it seem more premium. Someone says go with 40 Creek. It comes in glass bottles. I liked 40 Creek, but it was a bit much for me as a novice whiskey drinker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I can taste in the whiskey that there are qualities that I can learn to like. Like I don't know. That's kind of a weird thing to say, but like there are certain qualities that I like about a good wine that I can taste in whiskey, but it's different also. I don't know. It's kind of weird, and I'm a little bit too sloshed to say it properly. Anyway, the next one is the Atheist Experience fan group, Atheist versus Theist Debaters. I have no idea what this one's titled in the folder. I'm sorry.
Well, it's definitely not Spicier. It's definitely not SJ.
It's the one with the white background. ISA.
Got
ISA
it.
1.
Got it. Here we go. Okay.
So these are questions that no atheist can answer honestly. I'm going to preface this before we even get to the questions. I'm going to say that if we don't know the answer, an honest answer is, I don't know.
Yep.
So, regardless of what the questions are, that's an honest answer if you can't answer the question. So anyway, but let's go on to it. Does science answer anything?
Yes.
We're live streaming with technology right now. I've got like right here. There's an RTX 3080 that was not made with not science. A lot of transistors and shit going on in there.
Yeah, like you typed this out on what I assume was a digital keypad, which means that at the very least you have used a digitizer, right? Which is like a very recent thing. Not recent, and it's like the last 30 years, but still, the point is, you've used something right now that was directly benefited by scientific knowledge. But okay, go on, Queen.
Question 2. What is the origin of life?
We don't know, and that's fine.
Like, but also we know a lot about it.
So
we know a lot about what it had to have been.
Yeah, it's the whole reason we've done the Miller and Urey experiments, because we have that base knowledge. It's why we've been able to get amino acids out of studies into abiogenesis, is because we know the basic idea of how this stuff began, but we don't have a fully accurate answer to that. And even when we have an accurate answer for that, because of the way science works, we're going to have an approximate answer. It could be 99.9999999% accurate, but all answers in science are approximate because no knowledge in science is fully settled. There's always something more we can learn. But I've also heard creationists try to say that that's one of the bad things about science, is that, well, if you can learn more about it, if it can change, that means it's bad. You should read this one book instead, where nothing ever changes.
Okay, so I am going to plug... do you know the channel Professor Dave Explains?
Yes.
He has a fantastic 2-part rebuttal to James Tour, who is a synthetic organic chemist, who actually... James Tour is one of these guys that really frustrates me, because he does really good work in his field. He works in synthetic organic chemistry in Rice University. He comes up with like new metamaterials and stuff like that. He does really good work, but then he goes just a little bit past his field of expertise, and he pretends like his expertise counts as expertise in that other area, and he uses that to support intelligent design. I was actually really fucking upset when, after I had responded to videos that had dealt with James Tour or whatever. Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is one of my favorite podcasts, and I was listening to that, and they commented on this new thing that James Tour of Rice University had invented. I was like, no, there's no way. That can't be the intelligent design guy, James Tour. So, like, he's one of those guys that does good work when he's focused on his actual thing.
And then he starts trying to engage in apologia, and you just start going...
Yeah. Anytime he starts talking about abiogenesis, he's just out of his league. And Professor Dave Explains has a 2-part, I think the total running time on that is 2 hours, going over it, everything he says and going over all of the details of everything that we know about abiogenesis up to this point. Mm-hmm. And you brought up the Miller-Urey experiments, and those were when were they? 1950s?
Yeah, those are old as shit. We've done more since then.
We have done so much more since then. The answer to that question in simplified terms is we don't know. But
yeah, and there's a long but.
We do know about it. there is a lot that we know about it. So yeah, go watch the Professor Dave Explains videos on James Tour if you're interested in abiogenesis, because he goes over, like, when I'm looking for a source on abiogenesis, I go to Professor Dave Explains, and then from there I go to his sources and then use those sources as my sources. Because I'm lazy.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've done the same thing when I'm just like, back when I used to have sources at the beginning, not the beginning, but in the description of all my videos before I started doing everything live, where I'm just like, this is just not a feasible thing to do with the amount I'm doing anymore. Sometimes I would do that where I'm just like, I understand this enough. I know the information is in here. I've glanced on it just to make certain that it's in the thing that I'm posting in here. Post.
That's actually one of the biggest time sinks that I have, is when I'm covering something that I've covered before, is making sure that that's still the accurate side. Like, I still go back and find the sources that I used, and then I look to see if there's been anything new. And occasionally it does happen, like with how constant the decay rate, nuclear decay rates are. There was a study that came out in, I think it was 2019, that found that there might be some variation there. Now, when you actually dig into the study, it's like, okay, well, there's only variation in elements that have extremely short decay rates.
Yeah.
So, like, things that are, like, in fractions of a second. So it doesn't really apply to things that we use for radiometric dating. But there might be a variation there. But also, it's possible that that's just, like, a measurement error. Like, something affected their equipment rather than anything else. Anyway, question 3. Can nothing beget something?
It depends on who you ask. If you're asking a quantum physicist, potentially.
See, I would respond to this by, I would use the Socratic method on this one. Answer the question with a question. Have we ever been able to study nothing?
Do we even know what nothing looks like?
Like, we don't know what properties nothing would have. And, like, yeah, the easy answer is nothing would have no properties. But like,
how do we know that? You're assuming that.
Yeah.
We've never had the ability to study that.
There are entire cosmological models that rely on their, like, being nothing at the beginning, and then the universe is this whole thing where, like, gravity is negative energy, and then energy is positive energy and matter, and then when you add it all up together, it adds up to 0. So the entire energy of the universe, when taken as a whole, is 0. So you get a whole universe from nothing, with no energy, no inputs, no nothing. And maybe nothing is just too unstable to continue to exist. I can hear myself slurring. I'm not as good as I was at the beginning of the stream.
But look, you're not as good as you once were, but you're as good once as you ever were.
Super chats are slow today. I need more for more whiskey.
But
you need to buy me better whiskey, guys.
There is a point that's being mentioned in my chat that says that energy, from what I understand, energy can spontaneously generate virtual particles, which that's getting outside of my realm.
This is one of those things. I always kind of avoid this one because, again, it's outside of my realm as well. But my understanding is, like, there's a difference between a nothing as in the vacuum of space and a nothing as in, like, a true nothing. And I'm not sure. Like, it's above my pay grade, so I just stay away from that one because it's confusing as fuck. Okay, What is the origin of morals? I don't know how you'd answer this one, but I would say in a word, empathy.
The ability to empathize, potentially. I would say, like, practicality. So, like, human beings are a social species. Anybody who's like, well, I am antisocial, I don't give a fuck. Shut the fuck up. Humans are a social species. We, as a unit, function better as a unit. It allows us to diversify our labor. It allows us to do a variety of things that have helped us a lot. Think about everything in your house. Think about how they've been made by specialists. That requires a group unit to function. That's One of the benefits of having humanity function the way that it does, despite all of our issues. Now, you cannot have a group unit function for any amount of time without some set of rules that group will, at the very least, loosely adhere to so that they can cohabitate, so that they can exist with one another. Even in the absence of empathy, because ASPD exists. There are people on the ASPD spectrum that actually cannot empathize. But outside of empathy, for us to exist as a social unit, there does need to be some set of rules that people agree on as a bare minimum so that they don't kill each other or try to rob each other of their food. Morals are not an internal thing that everybody just inherently knows. There are things that you feel are bad when done to you, so you might not want to do them to other people as, at risk of yourself. But actual moral codes, constructed moral codes, from what I can tell, are literally just a shorthand so that we can exist with one another. They need be no more and no less than that.
Well, there's also the fact that like people who say that our morality comes from God, they almost always end up like this is one of the things where apologists will say that, like, oh, secular people borrow things from the Christian worldview. They borrow logic from the Christian worldview. It's like, but they borrow morality. They borrow morality from us. You listen to Frank Turek talk, he'll tell you that morality is absolute based on what God says is moral. But then when pressed on it, he will say that, like, oh, well, the Canaanite genocide was moral because the Canaanites were doing X and X needed to be stopped and genocide was the only way to stop it. Therefore, it was morally good to do it. Okay, you just described consequentialism, which is a moral system that does not need a God. And in fact, if God is actually the source of your morality, you wouldn't need consequences to justify an action that was prescribed by God.
Well, and there's another thing as well. When a Christian tries to say that their morality, or their like, we have to take logic from them, right? This is a thing that, what's his fucking name? Laws of Logic guy. I can't remember for the life of me.
Saiten?
Saiten's one of them. It's another presuppositionalist. He used to say that Pokemon was evil because it would pop out of game cartridges, and yet this guy still uses Discord.
Wasn't
now.
Jason Lyle, was it?
No, not Jason Lyle. I know that Aaron Rod did a debate with him and left halfway through the debate. It's not Darth Dawkins. I'm talking about somebody with notoriety, not somebody with infamy.
I don't know. Leaving halfway through the debate sounds like something that would happen with Sai.
I mean, it could happen with Sai, no doubt, but it's somebody who Ocean's debated too. God, it's just not in there in my head. I can't remember. It's fine though. It doesn't necessarily. I know that Matt Dillahunty's debated him. Ocean's debated him. I just can't remember the name right now. I'm gonna actually go over here. We're gonna go Ocean Kelsoy debates because I know that's where I'll find it.
You figure that out. I've got a few super chats to read because I told them to buy me whiskey, and apparently it happened. So the inverse way says Sursic ?
Matt Slick.
Oh,
that's who it was. It was Matt
fucker.
It was Matt
that
Slick.
Fucking guy.
Yeah, but Matt Slick
so frustrating.
He does the like laws of logic thing and all this other fun shit. I just want to point out that most of the logic that I hear that gets used by a lot of Christians on the internet is lifted straight out of Plato's Republic.
Yeah, and it's Greek philosophy. It's not Christian.
Which means, awkwardly, they yanked it from polytheists. Oh, dear.
Yep. Okay, so Sursic ? I know some people have been suggesting that I collaborate with Sursic. I don't know. His style is so different from mine. I don't dislike him, but I'm not sure if his style is quite the fit for my channel. He's a bit more
crass.
Yeah, you might say that.
I know that my style, the way that I do things now, no longer fits on your channel because my style used to, because it was literally an adaptation of your style. My style used to fit okay on your channel, but it in its current form, it definitely doesn't.
So if I can bring a private conversation into the public I here. We actually had a conversation about this when I was copying his chat stuff, is how he copied my style originally. So it's only fair that I copy his chat thing. Which, what, like a not really very animated avatar while I talk sort of thing. That's not a style that's unique to me at all. So.
No, it's not. But when I was starting out, I was watching you, I was watching Godless Cranium, and I was watching Apologia primarily. So that's where the majority of the early Cirrus video style basically got yanked from. Was a lot of that. Now, granted, I've definitely adapted my own style. Finally, it took like 3 years of doing content before I did something that was notably
fine.
my own.
That's fine. I still haven't done that. Like, I literally started my channel because other people that had the same style as me were moving on to other topics that I didn't think needed covering quite as much.
Yeah, and that's understandable, because then you're like, well, I want to know what... I want to hear a response to this, and then you start just making the response to it, because...
Or, like, I'd be watching another response video and be like, okay, that's a good point, but I would say...
Yeah, and then you
like,
do it
okay,
on your
well,
own.
I keep saying, well, I would say, well, why don't I just say it?
Yeah, for mine, it was a lot of emulation, where I was just like, I think I can try my hand at this. I can probably do this. And then I started, like... I learned a lot of things as I started going on YouTube. One is I fucking hate philosophy. Despite the amount of it that I have had to study to do shit, it just makes me hate it more and more.
It's one of those things where it's like, I know it's important, but can we not?
Because, like, philosophy is great. It literally, science doesn't exist without philosophy. The methodology construction is a subset of philosophy, and the scientific method is a methodology, so, like, by proxy, all that other fun stuff. It's super important, it's great, but the amount of times, and I know I'm literally doing this right now, the amount of times that knowing a little bit of philosophy causes somebody to pontificate on things that they really should just shut the fuck up about,
Yeah,
is insane.
Okay, I do have a few super chats to get through.
Let's do it.
Anamorphic Mind says candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker. Regios says for the whiskey. That was $20. Thank you very much, Regios. Elvin Tenuviel, which I've said this before, but I really like the name, says deployment is about to start. Please enjoy some whiskey and think of me not enjoying alcohol.
Oof.
Yeah. Good luck on your deployment. Is that an appropriate thing to say for deployment?
Better than break a leg.
I guess, yeah. Thomas Ford says, well, since super chats have been slow, I'm a neuroscience PhD student, and an electrophysiology professor said, why is for philosophers, how is for scientists? I've been thinking about that a lot. It's like, yeah, I'd agree to a certain extent, but like Sir's already pointed out.
I don't actually agree with that too much, because, like, the why we do things is less explained by philosophy and more explained by psychology, like human psychology, which is, you know, a science.
Yeah,
that's where we get more of our whys we do things more. Like, why did you have a response? Why did you have a manifestation of PTSD right now? That's explained by psychology. Philosophy explains, like, how we construct things, how we construct rules, how we operate ourselves around here. Are people being consistent with their particular rules? Are you in via a certain set of constructed rules? Are you making a mistake when you say X, Y, or Z? I think philosophy does that really well. But, like, as for the why we do things, I really think that's psychology. That's like more of a Shannon thing than a me thing.
Sure. And then Balthazar 228 says, do you ever get the feeling that some of those theist debaters could actively lose a debate with a dictionary and it would still take 7 hours?
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that. Okay, anyway, question 5. Why is there something instead of nothing? Because nothing might be unstable.
Nothing might be unstable, or also because it is. Like, my answer to that would be a really simple, because it is.
Nothing might be impossible. Like, I don't know how up to date you are with cosmological models, but like there are some that Like it's not quite the same as the cosmology before that had like expanding and contracting in a cyclic sense, but there's like a bouncing cosmology where like like the universe will expand and then eventually it will contract back into another big bang, but each big bang has slightly different properties than the last one.
The whole like rubber banding thing.
Yeah.
Where like yeah, I've actually seen a couple of the not seen the models, but I've read up on them a little bit.
And
about 2 years ago, I think was the last time I actually did any real study into that. But
and
it's
then
been
there's
ages.
yeah, and then there's Sean Carroll's thing where the arrow of time is just a measure of entropy, and it goes in both directions, starting from what appears to be the beginning, but isn't really. And I might be too drunk to be explaining this properly, but
I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of different models for the origin of the universe.
There's also the fact that as far as we can tell, energy can't be created or destroyed. We know that you can condense energy down to matter. We know that at one point our universe was condensed into a what's the way the song goes? The whole universe was condensed into a hot dense state. That whole thing, like if energy can't not exist and we can't destroy energy, and the most we can do is break matter down to energy, then why is there something instead of nothing? Like you said, because maybe that's really all we can have. You might be able to have all energy in a system, like a closed system, but you won't be able to have
nothing is even possible in the first place.
On top of that, over and above all of that shit, this goes back to something that we had in the earlier parts of this conversation. How do you even fucking define nothing? How do you know what nothing is?
Yeah.
By point of comparison, have you ever witnessed nothing? Have you ever been in a situation where you can point to something and go, that is nothing? Because the answer is no. Honest answer is you haven't.
We've never been able to study nothing. I said a couple more things I want to go through from the chat. One is not a super chat. Someone says, because nothing else matters, and is attributing that to Metallica, and I love it because that's a great song. And that's actually for years I had like bootlegged versions of that song because I wouldn't pay for my music or whatever. Do you remember Limewire? Are you old enough for Limewire?
Oh yeah, the entirety of Ranma 1/2 for me. Viz Media is gonna get mad at me for saying this, but that was how I consumed all of Ranma 1/2. That's how I consumed South Park.
I had a version of Nothing Else Matters that cut out right at the beginning of the solo. It would like play the first few notes and then it would just stop, and that was the end. And it was so fucking frustrating. Dude. I feel like that version was made to make you buy the album.
So speaking of Lime, you just unlocked a memory for me. So you know how when you go through and you do like noise cancellation on something, if you do it 3 or 4 times, there's that like almost watery effect it starts adding to the audio track. Yeah. How many songs did you download from LimeWire that had that effect on them, and you couldn't place like why it sounded so wrong?
Yep.
And then you get into doing YouTube, and you start doing that to your own tracks, and you slowly start to unravel the mystery, and you're like,
fuck.
You're like, oh god, that's why everything's broken. I'm responsible for this.
Yep. Also, Balthazar says, also, what's up with the terrible audio quality? Speaking of audio quality, what's up with the terrible audio quality of 90% of the apologists on live debates? We live in an era of cheap, good USB mics and 10-minute audio tutorials. Not that hard to fix. Closet recording in quotations. I'm just going to say there that audio can be a fucking pain in the ass. So I used to kind of be critical about this, but like recently it's like, no, I'm... Like, I have an amazing microphone that some fan sent me for some reason. Like, I did not expect to even get I just kind of put it on my Amazon wish list as a, like, oh, well, like, nobody's ever going to buy this for me, so may as well, just whatever, who cares? And then somebody bought it for me, so it's fucking awesome. Thank you so much, person who bought this for me. They actually wanted to remain anonymous, if I recall correctly.
To make a fun demonstration, I've used the same mic ever since I started on YouTube. But if I were to do this and this and just put my mic... How's my audio quality now, Weist?
Gone down quite a bit. It's still acceptable.
So...
but yeah, like audio stuff, like it's easy, but at the same time, it's also very easy to mess something up unreparably and just like without it being even something that you could even detect while you were recording it.
Yeah, and
So
some
I've-
things come down just to like the environment you're recording in. You can have a great mic, but if you're like a foot away from your wall on a laptop, that good mic is gonna sound like fucking garbage.
My dishwasher was going for the first bit of this stream, and you guys probably didn't hear that because I'm using this fucking Shure mic, which is known for having such a low noise floor that it's like the dishwasher's far enough away you probably didn't hear it. And then Balthazar again sent another 1999, said, every time I learn more about astrophysics and quantum mechanics, I'm amazed at just how cool the actual way the actual universe functions, and is more and more disappointed at how unimaginative every religious text is compared. Yeah, so that's like basically like the real explanation is way more interesting than God done did it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I don't like. Like, there's a lot of times where you have conversations with, I don't want to say just theists, because I know some very smart, very, very like well-to-do in terms of philosophy and even like understanding of science theists, but there are some that I've seen in my comment section who I'd probably call lowest common denominator types, and when they'll go, aha, look, the simple explanation is God. And I don't encounter that a whole lot in videos that much anymore, but when I see it in the comment section, I'm reminded of that dark era.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got one last tweet, and this is I'm gonna have to resize this.
You brought this woman back into my life. Why did you do this?
Fucking SJ, right?
Oh, the last thing I did on
okay,
SJ was calling. I literally called her a dumb bitch at the end of my video.
Did you see the clip of her having Dr. Kip on her own channel, though?
And literally, he just laid her out. He was like, "Here's how scholarly works on Isaiah work."
That was so fucking satisfying to watch.
Oh yeah, no, it was insane watching that, because I remember when it was put there, I looked at it initially and went, I'm not watching that. That's an hour and a half fucking long. But then there was a timestamp. Went to the timestamp.
Yeah, Megan gave us the timestamp.
Yep,
Megan's great. Love
better.
Megan. Yeah, so it says, Kip is truly the gift that keeps on giving. In other news, I'm considering writing a book in human resource management. I have no formal training in the field, but I don't see that as a barrier. It just means that I'm unencumbered by useless, outdated scholarship. End sarcasm. So it's just beautiful because SJ uses her PhD in human resource management as like this qualification that's like, oh yeah, I can speak to the dating of Isaiah because I'm a PhD in business management, and getting a PhD means I know how to read studies, and so I can go against the consensus on the thing with Isaiah. And even though I'm going to just mock people that go against the consensus on historicity of Jesus.
And yet,
like,
you have to ask SJ. Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I think Jesus was probably a real guy. I wouldn't be, like, that perturbed if I found out that he wasn't. But, like, it's just easier, for the sake of argument, to grant that he was a historical guy.
Yeah.
But I know this was kind of, like, the comparison that was made in the stream that we're not showing here, because that would require effort, and I'm too drunk for effort right now. Yeah, so that was kind of the context of this whole thing, was with regards to mythicism. And so Dr. Kip was being like, okay, well, like, yeah, you're laying on the mythicists for going against the consensus, but you're doing the same thing with Isaiah. So SJ says, my book on Isaiah is going to cover his new alignment with Jesus' mission, the New Testament, and literary devices, which are entirely related to topics that I have studied as a business professor.
How?
What?
How?
Business class?
Wait, no,
had anything to do with Jesus' mission.
Wait, no, I get it. I know. She was learning how the Pharisees were counting money in the temple. She was learning how to be properly whipped by Jesus. And that is where the expertise comes from. That is the stretchiest of stretches.
But they're entirely related. So I'm not sure why Digital Hammurabi's wife thinks, okay, this is the not anti.
This is misogyny.
The
at that point.
misogyny.
Digital Hammurabi
like-
is not one person.
like
That's two people.
He had nothing to do with this. He had nothing to do with this interaction.
And Dr. Josh has his own Twitter. Digital Hammurabi is the shared Twitter. That is both of their identities are part of that Twitter. Because both of their identities are part of their channel. And SJ fucking knows that.
I don't know but I like the responses. You've got to be joking, SJ. What business studies did you do that are related to the scholarship on Isaiah and the New Testament literary devices? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, what did you do?
Like
what Econ 101 textbook did you read?
If you press her on it, this will be like, oh, well, I know how to read scientific literature. It's like, okay, that's great, but your business management degree doesn't help you with dating Isaiah.
No, it doesn't. Because here's the thing. Like, all that tells you is you know how to look at a study, and you know how to look at the different citations that the study has. Potentially. There are still people who get this shit wrong. I get this shit wrong all the fucking time, I'm sure. Like, yeah, your ability to read a study and your ability to know if it is good for the purpose of what you're trying to use and not biased is awkward. Like, imagine if... Here's my prediction. I imagine we're going to see some stuff that comes straight from the Discovery Institute when she does this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I bet that's going to be in the citations somewhere.
Maybe. Well, that was the last tweet, and I really, really have to pee. So I'm going to end my stream.
So you can start a new stream.
No, that's you.
No.
Everybody go subscribe to Surus right now. And it makes him stream longer.
Oh, God.
He's got 132 hours to go. Make him go longer.
Oh,
Come on, guys. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Oh, no.
Let's get to 133.
We've been at 170 before on this stream. I have seen the other end of the horizon, and it is not pretty.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
It has as well.
I wish you all the best in your what's it called, Subbathon. I'm glad you've managed to pay off your medical bills, and I hope that you have much prosperity from it.
I hope so, too.
I don't know. I'm too drunk to talk properly.
You need to go pee and sleep.
I really need to go pee, so let's roll the credits then. Bye!
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. If you want access to behind-the-scenes content for the channel, please consider checking out my Patreon. I do weekly vlogs over there, where I give real-life updates to what's going on behind the scenes on the channel, stuff that you don't really get over here, and even on Twitch. Patreon also helps the channel's stability a whole lot. Without Patreon, I wouldn't be able to do this at all. Especially with the kind of content that I do, neither YouTube nor Twitch are the most stable sources of income. If you are a $20 and up patron, then you will be featured on the ending slides as shown in the beginning of the end credits. If you want to catch the streams where all this content comes from, then consider heading over to Twitch and following. And if you want to continue watching over here on YouTube, maybe consider clicking one of the end screen videos. And once again, I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me over on my channel. I wouldn't be able to do literally anything that I'm doing over here on YouTube without each and every one of you. So, thank you.